أهلا بيكم في دروس الأحياء للصف الثالث ثانوي. Today's lecture is questions and answers, part 1. So let's start. Now, choose the most accurate answer for the following questions. The average range in which the ovum stay alive inside fallopian tube is, we all know it's 1 to 2 days. So it's C. The average interval in which the sperm stay alive inside female genital system is 2 to 3 days. Okay? The fertilization of the ovum occurs in, of course we know it's the fallopian tube, so it's the upper part of the fallopian tube, not the last half of the fallopian tube. The last half of the fallopian tube it has no, the fertilization does not occur in it. The upper part of the fallopian tube or the lateral part of the fallopian tube does. For the adult woman, where the menstrual cycle is 28 days, we studied the breeding cycles before. The phase of ovulation occurs in the 14th day from the beginning of this cycle. We stressed on that. You start counting from the beginning of the cycle, not from the end of the cycle. So it's the 14th day from the beginning of the cycle. Okay. The ovum inserted in the endometrium, this is called implantation, occurs when not 1 day, 7 days after fertilization. So the ovum inserted in the endometrium after 7 days after fertilization. FSH and LH hormones are secreted from the pituitary gland. Of course, we studied this in hormones. From the functions of the luteinizing hormone is ovulation, means the ovum comes out of the Graafian follicle. This is called ovulation. Responsible for this is the LH hormone. From the following sentences, which of the following substances is not transferred from the mother's blood to the embryo's blood through the placenta? I changed this question. It was, which of the following substances is transferred from the mother's? The answer would be all except red blood cells. But if you put it, which of the following substances is not transferred from the mother's blood to the embryo's blood, it's the red blood cells. Because glucose, alcohol, estrogen, antibodies, viruses, amino acids, and oxygen all pass through the placenta. The spermatozoons cannot live except in nutritive media. This is correct, because they cannot store food inside them. This is also correct. So the two statements are right and are related to each other. The secretion of progesterone hormone begins after 3 months from pregnancy because, the secretion of progesterone hormone begins after 3 months of pregnancy. From pregnancy. This is wrong, because the ovary only secretes this hormone. It's not true also. The ovary, it's not the sole provider of the hormones. The corpus luteum does. So the two statements are false. Examine the opposite figure, then answer the following. Label the numbered part. Let's see. This is the testis. This is epididymis. Urethra. This is the penis. Prostate. Seminal vesicle. Urinary bladder. This is the ureter. Okay? And the vas deferens. What's the part outside the genital system structure? which of these does not belong to the genital system? Of course, the rectum, the urinary bladder, and the ureter. What is the importance of parts number 3 and 6? Number 3 is the seminal vesicle. It stores sperms. Okay, stores sperms and have fluid in it for nourishment of the sperms. 6 is the prostate. It secretes, enzymes, important enzymes in semen, and allows for the passage of sperms to the urethra from the vas deferens and the seminal vesicle. What will happen if the organ number 1, which is the testis, lies inside the body? Now, we all agreed that we all studied that the testis was formed inside the body, then descended and went out of the body in the scrotum. Why? Because the testis, let's call it factory, sperm factory, needs lower temperature than the temperature of the body. Means optimum of 28 degrees Celsius to perform its functions. Now it descends and goes out of the body. What happens if it's not descended? Remains inside the body. This is liable for infection, and it's cancerous also. And in the future, it will be infertility. There will be no sperms produced. So the patient will become infertile. Not descended, the same as eradicated. Okay? Now, what would happen if the organ number 1 is eradicated? So we have 2 periods, before puberty and after puberty. Before puberty, if the testis is eradicated, there will be no complete growth for the other sex organs, internal sex organs like the prostate, seminal vesicle. Okay? If after puberty and everything is fully developed, there will be infertility, because there will be no sperms produced. So remember, before puberty and after puberty. Examine the opposite figure, then answer the following. Label the numbered parts. Let's revise the stages of spermatogenesis: multiplication phase, growth phase, maturation phase, and metamorphosis phase. 2, 2, 1, 1. Okay? Means 1n, 2n, haploid and diploid in number. It starts by spermatogonia. So spermatogonia, 1 is spermatogonia. That will develop into primary spermatocytes. So 2 is primary spermatocyte. Meiosis 1 will result in secondary spermatocytes. So 3 is secondary spermatocytes. Then will develop into spermatids by meiosis 2. Spermatids 4 is spermatids. And then metamorphosis occurs and sperms are formed. 5 is sperms. What are these cells? Between the gametes, it's Sertoli cells. What are the cells between them? It's interstitial cells. Sertoli cells, it provides, fluid nourishment for the gametes, and it has a role also in immunity. Interstitial cells, it's responsible for the secretion of male sex hormones like testosterone. So interstitial cells number 6, and 7 Sertoli cells for the nourishment and immunity of the gametes. Examine the opposite figure, then answer the following. label the numbered parts. Let's see. This is the ovary. This is the fimbria of the fallopian tubes 2. 3 is the uterus. 4 is the inside of the uterus lining, which is the endometrium. 5 is the cervix. This region is the cervix. And 6 is the vagina. So ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, endometrium, cervix, and vagina. What's the importance of the organ number 1 and 4? Number 1, the ovary, of course, it's to produce the ovum and for the production of sex hormones. 4 is the uterus. It provides a suitable media for preservation of the or for protection of the developing baby inside. And it has, of course, it's the major role in labor because it contracts at labor. Where does the fertilization process occur? We all know it occurs in the fallopian tube, so it occurs in number 2. What are the changes which occur to organ number 4? It's written wrong in the book, organ number 1, which is the ovary. No, it's number 4. During the menstrual cycle, the endometrium undergoes a stage of proliferation. It proliferates, increase in thickness. The blood vessels become elongated and tortuous inside the endometrium to make it ready to receive the fertilized ovum. But if the ovum is not fertilized, these changes will be broken down, and endometrium will be shed off during menstruation as the menstrual blood, or as menstruation. What will happen if the 2 ovaries are eradicated from a pregnant woman, and why? Now, pregnant woman, we have the first 3 months or 4 months and the rest of pregnancy. In the first 4 months, the placenta is not fully formed yet, so it does not secrete hormones. Totally dependent on the corpus luteum of the ovary. So, if you remove the ovary, or if something happens to the ovary in the first 4 months, abortion will occur. But after the 4th month, pregnancy continues, because the placenta will take over and the corpus luteum will degenerate into corpus albicans, or the white body. Okay? Okay, this is part 1 of the questions for the reproduction. I hope you got the maximum benefit from this lecture, and thank you very much for watching.